Call to order this meeting of the Board of Education, the Town of Rocky Hill, February 20th, 2025. The time is now 7:05 at Rocky Hill Town Hall Council Chambers. If everyone will please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome everyone. Second agenda item for tonight is special recognition. This is recognition of our crossing guard for exemplary service. Dr. Zito.
Yes, thank you. If I could have Mr. William Quinn come on up here. Join me at the podium. He's over here. So just a quick story about something really amazing that Mr. Quinn did. Friday, January 17th, he reported to his crossing guard station at the intersection of Elm and Main. It's a fairly busy area, if you know Rocky Hill, right out here on the Silas Deane Highway. When a young woman, not a student, woman probably, we're guessing in her early to mid-20s, was crossing the street and collapsed in the crosswalk. And at that point, the lights turned green. And, you know, people are focused on getting from point A to point B and don't always, you know, they see the green light and they go. Mr. Quinn, without any regard for his own safety, placed his body in front of the young woman, held up his sign to alert the oncoming traffic to stop. This was all witnessed by Gina Munch in our office. She had a dental appointment that day, so she was coming in. And she said, Mark, it was unbelievable. I saw this gentleman out there. He's holding the cars back. He's basically trying to shield this young person. And she witnessed it and called 911. And, you know, by a very fortunate twist of fate, that was an exam day because you would not have been at the post at 10 o'clock that day unless we had the high school exam. So on a regular day, who knows what would have happened, but he wouldn't have been there to help her. So, you know, we're just really appreciative. You guys, you're the unsung heroes, crossing guards. You know, people aren't always friendly. Sometimes drivers are not pleasant with our crossing guards, but they're there to protect kids and regular citizens as well. So, you know, you put your life on the line that day. We're very appreciative. I just have a small certificate here for you. Awarded to Mr. William Quinn, School Crossing Guard by the Rocky Hill Board of Education on February 20th, 2025, for his exemplary and selfless actions on January 17th to help a fellow citizen in danger. So, sir, I respect you and I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if you'd like to say anything to the board.
Well, I'd just like to say, well, my heart belongs to two towns now. I grew up in Weathersfield, and I love my job, and helping somebody makes it even more, you know, satisfying. That's just about it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything that you
Thank
do.
you for the hire, that's for sure.
Mr. Quinn is supported tonight by some longtime family friends. We have Diane Krause, who some of you know works in our payroll office. She handles payroll and benefits. Her parents, it's a long relationship with the Quinn family, but they're all here to support him and just real proud of William stepping up that day and really putting his life out there and without regard to his own safety, doing the right thing. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Quinn. On behalf of the whole board, you know, it's everyone hopes that they'll act appropriately or act rightly when something happens, and to be put in that position, not only be attentive enough to realize it, but then to immediately act is commendable. So thank you very much. All right. Agenda item number 3 is audience participation. This is the portion of the meeting that's open to the public. Is anyone here to address the board tonight? Seeing none. Anyone here to address the board tonight?
Hold on. Give him a second. What do you think?
All right.
Come on. You can do it.
Please just state your name. Ryan Martin.
I'm here for my petition to end homework.
I love that.
You do it.
The history of homework. In 1905, when homework was invented by Robert Nelvis of the 19th century, an Italian teacher, he gave homework to kids that didn't demonstrate their best in that school day. Statistics. 95% of the grade school children get homework every day. 74% of the students say homework is a source of stress defined as headaches, exhaustion, sleep deprivation, weight loss, and stomach problems. High stress levels. 56% of the students considered homework a primary source of stress, according to the survey data. 43% view tests as a primary stressor, while 33% put the pressure to getting good grades in that category. How does homework affect students in mental and physical health? First and foremost, excessive amount of homework can be detrimental to students' mental and physical health. It can lead to increased stress and anxiety, as well as sleep deprivation and other health problems. When students are overwhelmed by too much homework, they become burnt out and lose motivation to learn. Overloaded schedules. The students already go to school all day. Then they come home to lots of homework, which sometimes can move into people's schedules with not having enough time to do extracurricular activities, sports, arts, religions, and most importantly, family time. Research has also shown that kids need to be well-rounded and have other extracurricular experiences outside of academic tasks. Into homework, based on my research, homework is either used as a form of punishment or cause grade students stress, and which doesn't help students to learn. Therefore, let's put an end to homework. Thank you for taking my proposal into consideration.
Mr. Martin, that was a well-thought-out, articulated argument against homework. And I think the board will take it under advisement. And I do know that if the student body was here to listen to that, they would have erupted in cheers when you finished. Thank you very much for that presentation. That was excellent.
Yeah.
All right, moving along. Report of student representatives. First up tonight, we have members of the High School Student Council to report on Rocky Hill High School.
Good afternoon, board of members. It's hard to believe that we're already more than halfway through the school year. Time flies when you're juggling tests, projects, and of course keeping track of which day it is. But here we are the second semester, and there's a lot happening. Firstly, in January, our students finished their midterm successfully. It was great to see everyone's hard work pay off, especially the incoming freshmen. Right after, we also began our second semester. On January 22nd, we held our marching band banquet for those who have been involved with the hard work the band put in so far, including parents, the staff members, the students, everybody. It was very relaxing for all the participants to relax after a long season. Congratulations to all. We also had an exciting event where we hosted the 8th grade elective fair. It was really helpful for all the students and parents to meet with each department and learn what they will be going into the school year next year. Not only did they get a great overview of how our school runs, but they also learned about opportunities we offer, such as clubs, classes, and team sports. This was also ran the same exact day that us students in the high school had the elective fair, and it just, all leaders got to partake in fun and meaningful activities for next year. In early February, our choral music department, led by Triumph Music Honor Society, hosted Cabaret, a chance for all members of concert, choir, chorale, and chamber choir to showcase their talents. It was a great event as their year's theme was collaboration with teachers. All those with musical talent were given the opportunity to showcase their abilities at this show. We had numerous collaborations, and it ranged from the guitar by Mr. Russell to the piano by Mrs. Morgan and so many other teachers. Overall, we had an excellent turnout and absolutely enjoyed the wonderful experience in seeing the musical talent our school holds. Finally, for all our sports, we are thrilled to say that everything is going excellent. Wrestling is heading to the state finals, and girls basketball is getting ready for the state tournament, which I'm pretty sure it's held today. We're all cheering them on as they represent our school with pride. All these great events have taken place at our school only in the past month, with our students and staff accomplishing incredible things each day. We're excited to present more great news next month. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Moving along, next we have representatives from Griswold Middle School.
Good evening.
My name is Tirumurugan Tamalarasan.
And my name is Chidero Koloji.
We are here to share with you some news from Griswold Middle School.
On Friday, January 10, the GMS Unified Sports Team was recognized as a Special Olympics National Champion School. GMS received this national banner recognition for its efforts to provide inclusive sports and activities for students with and without intellectual disabilities. Schools receiving this award have met 10 national standards of excellence in the areas of inclusion, advocacy, and respect. Mrs. Barbara Horn and Mrs. Carol Brzezowski of the CIAC were present at the ceremony to award the banner to the GMS teams from the 2023, 2024, and 2024 to 2025 school years. The banner is now displayed at half court in the GMS gymnasium next to their banner for winning the Michaels Cup in 2023. Congratulations to all the students, coaches, and support staff for obtaining such a high honor.
Coming up in March, Language Art classes will participate in a virtual visit with best-selling author Alan Gratz. Hosted by Book Break, students will discover how Alan Gratz researches historical events in a variety of eras as he shares about his novel Refugee, which intertwines historical events with fictional narratives, offering a deep exploration of the refugee experience and a universal human struggle for dignity and belonging. A school-wide scavenger hunt and puzzle activity will follow, wherein students will be able to use what they learned during the author's visit to answer questions and complete activities to win a prize.
Our GMS Technology Education program extends its sincere gratitude to the Board of Education for supporting the addition of a laser engraver to our woodshop classroom. This incredible tool has sparked creativity and excitement among all of our students, allowing them to enhance their woodshop's project in truly innovative ways. One of our 8th grade students, who has taken a special interest in the laser, has created gifts for each of you. Thank you for your continued support.
Our clubs are thriving and offering students a range of opportunities to explore diverse interests and get involved. Common Ground, Lego Club, and Math Counts are just some of the activities happening after school. We also have lots of student interest in the U2 Youth Coalition and the Youth Equine Club, offered through Rock Hill Family and Youth Services.
A new activity at GMS is the Library Social, begun by Ms. Len, a way to encourage students to unplug and interact with each other in a positive way. Students are allowed the opportunity to play a variety of games, work on puzzles, color, and other offline activities. The program is offered to all grades once a week during on teams. The friendships that have formed and all the interactions observed have been impactful to students and rewarding for all involved.
In sports, our basketball and wrestling seasons have come to a close. Coach Gilbert led his varsity basketball team to an 8-4 record, while the JV team played hard, earning 4 wins. Coach Libera reports that the GMS girls basketball team had a great season. Varsity team had 11 wins and only 1 loss. The JV team went 9-1, capping off another amazing season for the GMS Lady Grizzlies.
Our wrestling team consisted of 12 players, 9 boys and 3 girls in grades 6 to 8. We had 5 matches. The team performed very well and improved throughout the season, winning matches and experiencing success as beginner wrestlers. They received some great coaching from the high school staff and players. They were eager to learn and showed great commitment to the program.
GMS cheerleaders had an amazing season cheering on both the boys and girls basketball teams. Coached by Mrs. Mack, they were able to perform a halftime performance which included a tumbling section and a dance. They even had a Grizzlies mascot present, thanks to 8th grader Roberto Leon.
GMS volleyball season is off to a great start. The boys team is coached by Mr. Petre, and the girls team is coached by Mrs. Chauvoy. Volleyball remains popular at GMS. Between the two teams, we have over 80 players. The teams play 9 versus 9 instead of the traditional 6 versus 6, and compete in 6 games total during the month of February. Our HHS volleyball players are joining in on practice and during games to assist with the fundamentals and extra support as needed. Go Grizzlies!
Believe it or not, we are already preparing for the next school year. Recently, our 8th graders took a tour of the high school. They were instructed on how to select courses, invited to explore elective classes, and introduced to all of the amazing extracurricular activities that are offered. It was a terrific experience for our 8th graders. In addition, we will be welcoming our incoming 6th graders to GMS in the late spring. Mr. Meziars and Ms. Weaver will be visiting Mozart and presenting to the 5th graders. A family night will also be held at GMS for the 5th graders and their families. It's hard to believe we are already well over halfway through the school and already thinking about next year.
Thank you for giving us an opportunity to share a few things about our school with you tonight. And we hope that you enjoy the personalized token of appreciation that we have given you.
Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you for that wonderful update, and thank you for these cool gifts.
Very nice.
Very cool.
Very nice.
At this point, we'll take a quick recess. I'll entertain a motion for, we'll say a 2-minute recess, and we'll keep it to 2 minutes, just so that people can take pictures if they want, and anyone can sneak out if they want to sneak out, so you don't have to stay here for the rest of the meeting. With that, I'll entertain a motion for a 2-minute recess.
Motion for a 2-minute recess.
Moved by Ms. Lafredo. Do I have a second? Seconded by Mr. Shabra. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, passes 9-0. We are now in recess for 2 minutes at 7:20. Call back to order. That did end up being 5 minutes. But
We say
that's why you say 2 minutes so it can get 5. If we do 5, then it's 10. So
Right,
that was a
exactly.
win. That was a win.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Moving along to agenda item number 4, approval of minutes. For tonight, we have January 16th, 2025 Board of Education meeting minutes, January 28th, 2025 Board of Education special meeting, January 28th, 2025 Board of Education budget workshop, January 30th, 2025 Board of Education budget workshop, February 12th, 2025 Board of Education School Safety Committee meeting, February 12th, 2025 Board of Education Facilities Committee meeting, and February 12th, 2025 Board of Education special meeting. Does anyone have any corrections, deletions, or changes for the minutes? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes as listed on the agenda.
Moved by Ms. Tucker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Morfea. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any discussion? The ayes have it, 9-0. All right, moving along, agenda item number 5 is correspondence. Dr. Zito.
Yes, actually, 4 items of correspondence. Retirement announcements. So we have 3 administrative retirements. Mr. Joe Horvath, our athletic director, has been employed in Rocky Hill since September of 2012. He'll be departing at the end of the school year in June. Mr. Edward Melizia, assistant principal at the high school, has been with us since July of 2007. He will be leaving in June. And Mr. Chuck Zettergren, assistant superintendent for finance and operations, will also be retiring in July. He'll be leaving on June 30th. He's been here since 2010. He did have one brief sabbatical in Farmington, and then he came back. He figured he liked it better here. So came back to us in 2014, but Chuck will be leaving. So Joe, Ed, and Chuck are all in pretty critical administrative roles, and they're all retiring. So we congratulate them on a well-deserved retirement. And then also, she's not here. She's traveling with her husband, but Christine Flynn, my executive assistant, will also be retiring at the end of the school year. She's been in Rocky Hill since 2008. So Christine was very helpful to me when I first came here. She'd already been in the role for about 4 years when I arrived. So major changes coming for Rocky Hill, and we certainly appreciate the dedicated service of each one of those individuals. The other resignation, another important person too, those of you that may have had children go through West Hill, Allie Bendette is a teacher at West Hill School. She is resigning to stay home and raise her family, and we commend her for that decision. I never find fault with anybody who puts their family first.
Thank you, Dr. Zito. Any questions for Dr. Zito? All right. On behalf of the whole board, I know that these retirements don't take effect immediately, but I think it's appropriate to just thank Mr. Horvat, Mr. Melizia, Mr. Zettergren, Christine, and Ms. Bendetti for their commitment to the district. And we look forward to supporting you in your transition out of the district. Thank you. Moving along to agenda item number 6, consent calendar. On the consent calendar tonight, we have approval of installation of vape detectors at Rocky Hill High School. Would anyone like anything added to or removed from the consent calendar? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Motion to approve the consent calendar.
Moved by Ms. Tucker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Lafredo. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, 9-0. Consent calendar is approved. Moving along to committee reports. Agenda item number 7 is the Curriculum Committee.
The curriculum committee has not met since last board meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Tucker. Agenda item number 8 is the Facilities Committee.
The Facilities Committee had a meeting on February 12th where we reviewed our capital improvements program. We call it the CIP document.
We made sure it was in alignment with the CIP worksheet that was presented to us by the town, which enabled us to kind of prioritize the projects that we are, trying to get done in a timely fashion. We reviewed the design update on the West Hill School roof project, which will allow us to be prepared to improve the building, which is a town asset, when the town is ready to start that project. We also discussed another important project in our CIP, which is improving the Griswold Middle School Media Center and Technology Labs, primarily around potential changes in doing that in phases, but still want to get both done. And the last thing we discussed was our current active project, which is the upgrading of the Stevens School HVAC system, which will continue to have more advanced building structure added this summer. And also, the vape detectors installation, we kind of talked about how effective a sample of that was, in the hopes of continuing to try to reduce the vape usage in our high school. That was it.
Thank you, Mr. Gavin. Any questions for Mr. Gavin? All right. Moving along to agenda item number 9, Finance Committee.
The Finance Committee did not meet since the last board meeting. However, we had 2 budget sessions.
Thank you, Ms. Tucker. Agenda item number 10, Personnel and Negotiations.
We have not met.
Thank you, Mr. Gavin. Agenda item number 11 is Policy Committee. Mr. Shabra?
We have not met since, but we have a approval of a proposal later on in the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Shabra. Agenda item number 12, Special Education Committee.
The Special Education Committee has also not met.
All right. Agenda item number 13 is the Correct Council.
There was a board, they had a board meeting yesterday. I haven't had the tape to review yet.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shabra. Agenda item number 14 is the School Safety Committee. Mr. Clemens.
Safety Committee met on February 12th. Chief Collette joined us along with Lieutenant Smith. They gave us an overview of our SRO program and our staffing, and briefly give an overview of the Connecticut Trust Act.
Okay. And to be clear, the Connecticut Trust Act has to do with the interaction of federal immigration officers with local law enforcement.
Yes.
And that's Connecticut statutes, correct?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Clemens. Agenda item number 15, Technology Committee. Mr. Gavin.
The Technology Committee has not met, primarily because Mr. Gay gave the full board a briefing of his desired package in the budget meetings that we've already had.
Thank you, Mr. Gavin. And I think that's fair to say for most of the committee meetings. I mean, really, when we go through the budget, we're kind of going through everything to a certain extent. So, and that takes up a lot of the board's time during the month of February. So, thank you, committee chairs. Moving along to agenda item number 16, approval of proposed Board of Education policy number 6200, selection, maintenance, and reconsideration of library resources. Second reading. To give it to Dr. Zito.
Sure. So the Policy Committee met on December 19th. Mr. Shabra alluded to this earlier. We've reviewed this. It's basically a policy for the removal of the selection, maintenance, and reconsideration of library resources. So basically outlines how a book would get removed or added to the school libraries. We had no issues with this, but we did feel it was proactive. We've talked about this at several board meetings now, so we recommend that the board adopt this tonight. I think we're now on our second reading, so this is the third time it's been addressed.
Thank you, Dr. Zito. Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Zito in regard to the policy? And I think we discussed too, this really kind of just putting on paper what we've always done or what was already being done. It just makes sense to have something written down, much like we have laws in our society, so that you can refer to them.
And reviewed by legal counsel as well.
Thank you, Dr. Zito. With that, I will entertain a motion to approve proposed Board of Education policy number 6200.
I move to approve the proposed, the 6200 policy.
All right, moved by Ms. Tucker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. LaFredo. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it 9-0. Board of Education policy number 6200 is approved. All right, moving into new business. Agenda item number 17 is appointment of assistant superintendent for finance and operations. Dr. Zito.
Thank you, Mr. Slattery. So as the board is aware, Mr. Zettergren has announced his intention to retire at the end of the current school year. Earlier this evening, you had an opportunity to have an interview and executive session with the candidate that I'm recommending, which is Scott Nozick. Scott has been employed as the principal at West Hill School since July of 2012. So he'll be wrapping up his 13th year and going into year 14 on July 1 when he would be moving into this new position. Been an outstanding principal in the school district for quite some time, well-respected throughout, understands what this job entails, and also holds the appropriate credential for the 085, which is the Business Administrator Certificate. So he has my full support for this position. I think he's going to do an excellent job, and look forward to your action on this item this evening. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Dr. Zito? All right. With that, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to move the Rocky Hill Board of Education appoint Scott J. Nozick as the Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations effective July 1st, 2025.
All right, I have a motion by Ms. Tucker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Manella. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it 9-0. Welcome to central office as of July 1, Mr. Nozick. Would like to come up and make a few comments, Mr. Nozick?
Putting you on the spot, bro.
Gotta put him on the spot.
Day one.
Did give Chuck one last opportunity to back out.
He has to get Chuck's haircut, right?
It's coming slowly but surely. Don't worry about it. I just wanted to thank all of you, including Dr. Zito, for the opportunity to continue working in Rocky Hill in a central office position. I'm going to do my best to make you proud and to continue on the great tradition that we have here in Rocky Hill. And it's an honor and a blessing to be part of this and continue to be part of it in a different role. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nozick.
Thank you. Congratulations.
All right. And Mr. Nozick, just a few words. Welcome to that position. And I personally did not have any kids at West Hill, so I've never really had any direct interaction with you, but I will say I was very impressed in the interview today and look forward to you coming into that position. So on behalf of the whole board, I think everybody's shares those sentiments. So thank you. Moving along to agenda item number 18, discussion and possible action on budget proposal for fiscal year 25-26. This is kind of like a mini budget session for anyone who has any questions. I do.
We do have one handout tonight, Mr. Slattery.
Correct.
So Mr. Kosker gets the gold star for doing his homework. And he had a series of questions which we laid out for you. And I'm glad, Tom, you took the time to do it because it's important to clarify. I think typically if one person has a question, other people may have the same question. So I know there was broad discussion, so I'm going to go through this if it's okay with you.
Absolutely. Please do, Dr. Zito.
Regarding the athletic trainer. So, in your slides, you have, sometimes we look at total costs, and sometimes we break out total costs between salary and benefits. So the athletic trainer is a total cost of $111,713, and that's a breakout between salary of $80,000 and benefits of $31,713. We assume the full rate for a full family package. Sometimes it comes in a little less than that, won't be higher than that. So the overall cost is $111,713. But right now, we have a contract with Select Therapy, which is a company that we pay a fee to, and then they provide us training services. So we won't need that contract anymore. We'll keep a limited, like a $2,500 contract with them just for consultation from time to time. They'll provide some PD, things come up. But the bulk of that contract, $52,500, will go away. So the net cost for this position, assuming the full benefit package, is a little over $59,000. Now, the advantage of this is significant. First of all, districts are all hiring their own athletic trainers. We're seeing this model change pretty rapidly. We were in competition with a couple of other districts. We're very happy with the current person we have. We wanted to secure her services. In addition, the CIAC changed the rules a few years ago to dramatically extend the opportunities for summer coaching and summer workouts. That's why we added the strength trainer position to a part-time position. So this is going to give us significantly more time. We won't, she'll be on an 11-month contract, and that means we'll get her August 1st all the way through the end of the school year. And it's a lot more time for the kids in terms of she'll be a full-time 40-hour-a-week plus, because this job is usually more than 40 hours. But it's a good thing for the student athletes and a good thing for the school district. So I just wanted to clarify. I know we talked about it, and I think it was a great question. Your second question, really, you again get an A+ for your math. You were referring to page 14 on the slides, but basically to break it down, the total salary increase is a little over $1.6 million. And what you had on your worksheet there, Tom, is absolutely correct. $1.4 million in contractual step wage or other increases like degree changes, for example. Additional staffing was up $736,000, but then we decreased positions to the tune of about $511,000. So again, there's a lot of moving parts in the budget, but the overall, that was your breakdown. I think you were driving it just like big categories. How do we get to the $1.6 million? My last question was probably the one that required the most detail in terms of responding, but recall that we did eliminate in the budget 2 behavioral specialists. The overall cost is $94,778. Actually, on slide 14, we reflect the cost is like 85 something, because that's only the salary. It doesn't count for Medicaid contributions that we have to make and so forth. So the overall cost of these positions is $94,778. And there's a tendency, we all do this, to try to tie it to outplacements. But what we indicated here was that overall tuition next year is projected to be up $168,000. That's the result of many factors: rising tuition rates, changes in placements. And as I talked about, we typically build in a mythical placement for a student so that we're not caught off guard, because the past experience shows us that there are typically some move-ins. So we need to have a space budgeted. And I talked about that at length in the budget letter and also during the budget workshops. But this is the most volatile section of our budget. So, kids move in and out of town. Tom, you know this. With your experience, a PPT meeting can result in increased services or an outplacement. So there's a lot of changes. It's a very unpredictable part of the budget. And the 2 behavior specialists were added during the school year. Sean, I know you asked me numerous times, and we had several conversations about 3 basic things you need to think about with budgeting. The approved budget from last year, then the actual budget, and then next year's projected and hopefully approved budget. And the reason why that middle column in my mind, actual, is important is because things happen during the school year. Students move in. In a couple situations, we had some exceptionally physically aggressive behaviors going on. where I had to hire some additional specialists to work with kids. These things are going to happen. Sometimes it happens in regular ed. I think there's been a couple of times I've added teachers during the school year that were not in the budget. I just have to figure it out because enrollment has gone up. So these things occasionally happen, but you can't really just tie them directly to a couple of kids who may be outplaced. Really, what I want the board to understand is that we have to have the management right, the administrative right, if you will, to just respond to these changing situations for the benefit of everybody in the school district. So hopefully that answers the questions. Again, I appreciate you taking the time and the detail that you came to it with. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zito. Thank you, Tom, for your for your email and for the questions. Anyone else have any questions, comments, proposals with regard to the budget? I know I'm still looking at it. I mean, we don't have to adopt until what,
March 13th. And that actually is in my comments at the end of the meeting, but yes, I'll say it now, March 13th. So again, if stuff comes up, by town charter, you do need to adopt your budget on March 13th. So in the interim, if things come up, I'll continue with the same format. I'll respond without a meeting scheduled. We had this meeting tonight, so I wanted to pass this out. I would just respond to the full board with, this question came in, here's the answer. But again, please feel free to continue to work on the budget and, with your books and bring your questions to me prior to March 13th.
Yeah, that way, because you do have to adopt before March 18th, and with the board meeting being on the 13th, any questions, if we can answer them ahead of time, that'd be greatly appreciated.
And if there's a crazy snowstorm, we're going to have a special meeting. If the state is shut down on March 13th, we will have to figure out a time before the 18th to have a special meeting to have you adopt a budget.
Certainly. And if some issue comes up, we can always have a special meeting as well.
Absolutely. You
So
can do that
that's
at any
always,
point.
that's always
Sure.
something that's possible. Mr. Kosker, question?
Just a quick thing while we have you here, and you don't have to answer it now, but maybe get it to us later, because you mentioned, I didn't think of it earlier, the strength and conditioning position.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It's about $35,000.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Thanks. And that's, what percent?
So
Or do we have to adopt by that?
what percent is that on the budget?
No. 0.4, 0.6,
Oh, I mean, it's a
0.5.
part-time,
Part-time.
it's roughly 15 to 20 hours a week.
roughly half that,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I know, and
I remember you having that there
Associated with
somewhere.
that, because it's under 30 hours, but it's, again, to me, that was a very efficient way of responding to the CIAC and this year-round type training that's going on. They said, let's focus on having one person that can work with the athletes and the coaches. And so some of these districts are going out and they're creating additional salaries for every coach, which would really expand the budget. So we felt this was more cost-effective.
Thank you.
And to be clear to anyone who may not have kids who play sports, do high school sports, prior to this past year, the CAAC would not let them practice as a team over the summer. So the change that that Dr. Zito was referring to is the fact that now they're allowed to during the summer, and so
Really year-round. They kind of took the brakes off everything. It's kind of, if you're not in your, so if you're a softball player, you could be practicing softball in the middle of winter. I mean, it's kind of a year-round. They really kind of took the brakes off the whole thing, so.
So having the trainer for that, with that kind of flexibility, is really adaptive to that change. As well as the fact that I think she does a great job, and
Yeah,
so
she's the athletic trainer and then the strength and conditioning. So we think the combination of those two,
works out well.
it's going to work out well, yeah.
All right, any other questions for Dr. Zito with respect to the budget?
Just one question.
Sure,
Kind of
Mr.
piggyback
Clemens?
on the CIAC ruling. So let's say softball, you brought it up.
Yeah.
Softball coach decides, I'm gonna work my team all year. There's no additional pay for that.
Correct.
If they wanna do it, it's on their own.
Well, in some districts, they are paying.
But
That's the
not
point I
Rock
was
Hill.
trying to make. That we're not doing that. So
Yeah.
other districts were having conversations about augmenting salaries and, that would dramatically increase the budget. So our solution was to make sure we have our own trainer and have a strength and conditioning person that can kind of coordinate those efforts. So if the football team wants to have the kids on a weight training program after school, they can get in there all winter and lift weights. If you're a football player and you're one sports football, you know, you can get in there every day after school and get in the weight room. Instead of hiring the coach to go in there, we've got Coach Asadorian, actually, it's the person we hired for the position, so he's working.
Oh, yeah, I'm not aware, I just wanted to clarify, because, you know,
Yeah.
you brought up about the softball coach again,
Yeah.
your example,
Yeah.
how they could run their team all year.
Yep.
If they run a team all year, that's great. They're getting paid for Rocky Hill for the actual
Only for the
softball
season.
season.
That is correct.
Anything extra is on that coach.
That is correct, yeah.
Right, it allows them essentially to delegate that off-the-field training to, you know, to the strength and training coach or.
Now, again, if they want to take the kids to the batting cage and the parents want to take them to the rules are kind of, there used to be very tight rules, you know this when you coached hockey. You could not,
It was half your starting roster. I was allowed to coach 2.5 kids in the offseason. I don't know where I get a half kid from,
yeah.
but I was allowed to coach
You would
2.5
have-
kids.
So you would have coaches from schools that were friends, trading teams, you know, I'll work with your kids all summer, you work with my kids, all this stuff was going on. People, I got the sense a lot of rule breaking was occurring, so they just said, we're not gonna try to manage this anymore.
Yep. Well, it's the right move.
All right, good question, Mr. Clemser, good comment. Anything else with respect to the budget? I encourage everyone to keep working through it. I know, you know, oftentimes, at least since I've been on the board, after the presentation, we'll kind of say like, oh, cut 100,000 or cut, I mean, I'm struggling just because, and the reason I keep reviewing it is, you know, it's a very transparent budget, and it's very lean, and I don't see where those cuts would come from if we made that mandate or if we did that. So without directly affecting services to students. So I'm still, you know, working through that, and as Dr. Zito said, we don't have to adopt until March 13th, or really until March 18th, but our meeting is March 13th. So encourage everyone to keep doing that. And as Dr. Zito and the administration have shown, they're very responsive to the questions and will continue to be, I presume. So thank you, Dr. Zito. Thank you, Mr. Zettergren. All right, moving along. Find my agenda here. Agenda item number 19, Assistant Superintendent for Personnel and Student Services Report. Dr. Zito.
Thank you very much. So Ms. Stevenson is not here. She has doctoral class this evening, and Mr. Rand also is not here simply because the two of them are going to a leadership conference in Fort Worth, Texas, and they leave tomorrow from Bradley at 5:41. So they have to be up fairly early to get a 5:41 departure. So I said I will handle your stuff tonight. Wendy actually has really no report for this evening. Amy had one quick update. She wants to recognize Amy Thorne, who's a paraeducator at the Dream Academy. Ms. Thorne had the idea of bringing the greeting card initiative to fruition. So she worked with Aaron Emmons, the culinary director at the Dream Cafe, and the students created handmade Valentine's Day cards, which generated over $400 in sales. It was so successful that they're going to be rolling out birthday cards, anniversary cards, all kinds of cards for other special occasions. So please continue to patronize the cafe. Look at their selection of cards. We'll continue to inform you. I know a few of you at least were interested in the Valentine's Day cards. And again, I just want to recognize Ms. Thorne, because this was a really creative idea. And again, it just kind of speaks to the creativity and talents of our staff, that they, you know, somebody has a good idea and we run with it, and she gets a lot of credit for it. So we're really proud of her. And, you know, some really cool stuff is happening in that place. So it's good to see. You know, I'll put a plug in now. Tom, you may have the date. Steve, you might have. Challenger Days coming up in June, and I've already been asked to, there you go, June 7th, see? And so that's the Saturday before the last week of school, Challenger Day. And again, we'll involve the Dream Cafe like we did last year. Gonna see if the wood shop can help us out with putting some of the Plinko board stuff together and things like that. So again, creativity, but a lot of good things going on, and the Dream Cafe just continues to shine.
Thank you, Dr. Zito. Any questions for Dr. Zito? Ms. Murphy?
No, just a comment. Those cards were beautiful. I bought a bunch. They had birthday cards.
Valentine's Day cards. And
That's really awesome.
They were gorgeous, yeah. I was really surprised that they were handmade.
And reasonable compared to Hallmark.
Oh, yeah. I bought everything they had.
That's why there were none left when I went.
Actually, it is. I took
Like
the last
I
one.
went the 13th for Valentine's Day, and there was nothing left. Although, and they also.
You gotta plan a little better than
I
that.
know. I don't plan very far in advance. They also had one of the students is doing photography, and he's using some. They're using some of his photography to do cards, more like postcards almost, like sort of blank little greeting cards. So those are on sale there as well, and they're quite impressive. So.
All right. Continue to be amazed by the stuff that comes out of the Dream Cafe. It's just a wonderful experience every time. All right, so moving along to agenda item number 20, Mr. Zettergren, Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations Report.
Yep. So in your board packet is the financial report through the month ending January 2025. I have highlighted some of the line items that we need to keep an eye on as we progress through the year. We've had discussion just prior to this about the adoption date being March 18th. So that, and also discussed any questions, please send those so we can answer those questions before the March 13th meeting. Also, I just wanted to give you a heads up. In accordance with USDA and Connecticut State Department of Education guidelines, school districts who utilize a management company to run their food service program are required to go out to bid every 5 years. Our management company, as you probably know, is Sodexo. So we are currently in our 5th year, and we're in the process of putting together the documents required for the RFP. We will be out to bid soon, and once the process is complete, we'll be bringing a recommendation forward to the board of who we would recommend going through with at that point in time. But it is a lengthy process, so I anticipate we'll probably bring that forward at the June meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Zettergren. Any questions for Mr. Zettergren? Seeing none, we'll move along to agenda item number 21 is Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction Report, Ms. Durand, who, as Dr. Zito indicated, is not here because she's traveling tomorrow, and I don't believe had anything to report, correct? Okay, so we'll move along to agenda item number 22, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Zito.
So we've already talked about the budget at length, so thank you. You know, again, email Chuck and me if you have any questions prior to the board meeting on March 13th. Just a reminder again that we've moved the June meeting to Thursday, June 12th. The last day of school will now be the following day, June 13th, because we have the snow day on February 6th. And then graduation is coming up on Monday, June 16th. So we are, all the students spoke about it tonight, but it is amazing that we're closing in on late February at this point. The school year is just zipping by. And best of luck to all of our athletic teams, those that are qualifying for state competition. I know we have some board members that eagerly follow our very talented girls basketball program. Last year those playoff games were packed in that gym, so look forward to that. I think it's something that the whole community rallies around, so it's really exciting to see. So those are my remarks. I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Dr. Zito? Seeing none, thank you, Dr. Zito. Move along to agenda item number 23, which is my report. I will keep it brief as well. I was going to comment mostly on the budget process, which we talked about already. Send out another thank you to Mr. Horvath, Mr. Malizia, Mr. Zettergren, Christine Flynn, and Ali Bendetti. Also want to, I guess, promote the girls basketball team. I have been attending the games, and they are really exciting to watch. I don't know, Amber, do you know when the next game is? I don't have it on.
It's going to be March 2nd, which would be our first round of states.
Excellent.
It should be home.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I would encourage anyone, particularly if it's a home game, to anyone who's available or able to get out to see them. They're Amber's daughter does play on the team, and they're fun to watch. They're fun to watch.
Ice hockey, I believe, Saturday night has their senior.
Okay. I did not know that. Ice hockey has their senior night, Cromwell, Saturday?
I will send the invitation out in the board update, because they sent out a special invitation inviting people to their
Absolutely.
senior night game in Cromwell.
Say that again, what's the date?
Ice hockey.
When is it?
I think it's Saturday next week. Yeah.
And on that note, I will say, tonight is USA-Canada game and the Four Nations face-off, so anybody who's interested, try and catch that game as well. Any questions for me? That's all I have for tonight.
Just along those lines, we do have a student who was invited, that is a hockey player at GMS, invited to that game, Canada versus the United States tonight, so he is representing Rocky Hill, which
Well,
is
look
really
at
cool.
that.
He'll be
And
out on the ice, so.
That is very
yes.
exciting. Kylie did mention that. I'm glad you brought that up. That's super exciting. So a Rocky Hill connection to what's, I'm sure, going to be a very cool game. I don't know if anyone caught the first game that they played, but there were 3 fights within the first 9 seconds, and it was a lot of good hockey. So on that note, I will entertain because I think they're starting right now as we speak. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, moved by Mr. Kosker. Do I have a second? Seconded by Mr. Shabra. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 9-0. We are adjourned at 8:05.